For this morning panel sessions, we are very pleased to have Mr. Mathew Pryor as our guest moderator. Mathew is the head of the Division of Landscape Architecture and Associate Professor teaching at HKU and teaches courses in Sustainable Design, Landscape Systems, and Construction Technologies. Mathew is a registered landscape architect in Hong Kong and the UK and a fellow of the Hong Kong Institute of Landscape Architects with over 25 more years of practice experience. Joining Mr. Pryor at this panel are our speakers, Dr. Jiang and Mr. Thomas Wong. Hello, Mr. Pryor, Dr. Jiang, and Mr. Wong.
Guys.
I'll pass the time to you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning, Thomas. Jiang. Good morning. I see two empty chairs next to Jasmine, so I think we're conceptually going to have to put these things together. Thank you very much for your presentations. I really enjoyed both of them. And I think they make a really, really interesting pair. Jiang, your research continues to amaze, and I think it's going to be the foundation of a new approach to landscape across the world, and particularly here in Hong Kong. So I think collectively we're very grateful to have your insights. This ability to connect landscape and landscape design with public health and stress, I think is absolutely vital. And Thomas, I've long looked forward to Talam Nala being upgraded in certain ways. It's a very historic site. I believe the incense trees that give Hong Kong its name come somewhere close to the Thailam Nala. But the Nullahs obviously offer an excellent opportunity for sort of green infrastructure or the greening of infrastructure in the city, and particularly the connection to other landscape areas and making a more coherent, more integrated urban forest for us. We've received a few questions, a couple of questions each. I see some more coming in. So start straight away. Jiang, start with you. What is Hong Kong's biggest problem? What is its biggest stressor, and what is its biggest opportunity through your work to address that stress?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. We've only got 10 minutes for this discussion, so I'm going to ask you guys to be very quick.
Okay. This is a great question, actually, but it's also a very challenging question. And to be honest, we have quite a lot of things can be improved in Hong Kong. I think, as I said in the presentation, I think the most critical part, in my opinion, is we need to keep a good view on the general green coverage, but also we have to provide equal and more convenient access to all the people. To the green space and the urban forest. I think the rural park is great, but especially for the children and the elders and the white collars, they have very short time window during the working days. They really don't have good access to the rural parks. So I think the urban forest and urban green space inside the downtown area, the urbanized area, something we have to pay more attention to. And also, I think the urban forest is a quite a general definition, which including many kinds of green space. For example, we notice some populations like the children's. Many children are studying and living in quite crowded urban areas and schools. They don't have quite good open space and access to the nature. So I think that part for the future generations need to be addressed in the future. Thank you.
Certainly this contact with nature, the ability to touch nature seems to be fundamental to childhood and our ability to understand it and empathize. I think it's very important. Just a follow-up question to that. Is all green space of equal value, or are there more important things, more valuable types of green that we should be focusing on?
Yeah, but people, of course, the quantities is not the whole answer for the question, and quality is especially important, and diversity is also very important. There is no perfect answer for providing green space to all the people, right? So Like for elderlies living in the senior houses, we have to realize the reality is that they don't have big lawn, don't have open spaces, but in the near future. But maybe we can pay attention to the rooftop gardens as you practiced in many projects, and also even you can provide some horticultural therapy in the indoor space and the windows and the patios. That could be great for the elderly in the senior house.
I certainly think that's a very important. The social aspects of greening, and particularly the elderlies or the intergenerational opportunity for intergenerational contact. Thomas, I really love your presentation. You talked about consultation with local people. What is the sort of feedback you're getting from local residents?
Yeah, thank you. Well, indeed, through the public engagement exercise, we understand that the people of this community, well, in general, welcome the plan to revitalize Taiwan Nala. Well, in fact, when we carry out the river revitalization public engagement exercise in other revitalization projects, well, we also got the peoples in the communities. They also welcomed the revitalization works. For the Taiwan Nala, the local peoples look forward to the improvement to be brought to their living environment through these projects. They wish to enhance their connection with the community and hope to have more public space and spacious walking environment for the relaxation and leisure with ample greenery. They have a lot of innovative ideas and suggestions. Of course, there are some local residents have concerns such as the potential flood risk and safety issues and maybe some noise nuisance. We will carefully design for the projects to address these concerns.
Yeah, that's a really interesting aspect of it, that the Nala represents both a tremendous resource, a positive for the community, but also a threat, a perceived threat. And I suspect that there's a lot of work for your team in talking to the local community and assuring them and showing them through the design approach that you're dealing with the threat at the same time as maximizing the opportunity.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So it sounds like it's going to be a very long project. How many years until can we walk down the green Nala?
Yeah, well, the project is now at the planning and investigation stage, and we are now going to the detailed design. And subject to the progress of the detailed design, we will go to the construction stage. And well, I can't guess the time to start the works, but
this is sort of 1 to 2 years. Okay, I would have estimated 5 years.
Yeah.
I know DST have been doing a lot of experimental work, a lot of very interesting landscape work, very much leading the way in many respects. You mentioned also ecology and the opportunity for ecology. The Nala, because of its hydrological function, you can't plant trees in it, etc. You have a certain type of planting that you will be limited to within the Nala. Could you say a little bit more about your strategy for planting or selection of species or plant types?
Yeah. Okay. Well, for the landscape strategies, we want to create a sustainable vegetation cover that can help develop the ecological habitats and requires no recurrent maintenance. A mixed planting strategy will be adopted. We will provide a vegetation cover similar to the surrounding existing vegetation by planting native species and naturalized species with ecological value. We have identified some species for in-stream emergent habitats and for intertidal habitats, and are planning to conduct some site trials to understand the adaptability and suitability of these species to the site-specific conditions.
Yes, certainly when we built the wetland park, there were 2 years of site trials on the planting.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, at the beginning, we didn't really know what we were trying to achieve. Just a final question, Thomas. Is there any opportunity for public participation in the process of sort of planting or managing the landscape that's created within the nulla, just to get a little bit more buy-in?
Well, that's a good idea for that. We haven't tried this before, but in fact, we have tried a lot, quite some plant trialing. I mean the site trial for the planting, in other projects. So maybe we can take these opportunities to let the people or let the local peoples to participate in the site trial in these Taiwan Nala projects. Right?
That would sound very exciting. Certainly, from my own research on the social aspects of rooftop farming, people engage in that simply for the opportunity that Jiang Bin was mentioning. The touching nature, the being in contact with the landscape, and also the fact that they have some stewardship, some sort of control, or some sort of involvement in it. It's not just something that somebody else does for them. And of course, it is just such a wonderful opportunity. Those of you, the participants who know the nulla, know it's just this just extraordinary concrete strip through the middle of Sha Tin, and I really look forward to the transformation of that. Yeah. We have a couple of minutes left. Another question come in about wildlife. Jiang Bin, you mentioned noises. The role of wildlife in our perception of the urban landscape, and wildlife noises may be part of the mechanism for reducing stress. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Is this just bird noises, or
including the biological and the non-biological noises from the nature? For example, we can see the noise produced by the creek and the waterfall. That's a type of, and also for example, the wind goes through the forest, and you see those kind of soothing noise and sound, and of course including the animals, birds, and other, even the insects. Those kind of biological sounds you can perceive in the nature or in space.
So there's some elements of that we could design into a project like the Nulla revitalization, thinking about providing a vegetation framework to encourage wildlife, bird life. Thomas, I have another quick question. This is my question.
Okay.
The Tai Lam Nulla, which was 20 years ago that they did the greening of the Nulla just above Tai Po. That became a very popular dog park. I don't know if you know this, but if you go up to Tai Po, go up the greened Nulla, it's just full of dogs. People take their dogs. The dogs are absolutely wild in this place, and they absolutely love it. I suspect you might get exactly the same response if you green your Nulla in a sort of dog-friendly way. It become a really, really happy place for the local dog population. So that wasn't a question. That was more a warning. Yes.
Yeah, it is wise. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, guys, we have run out of time. I've got a message from Central Control that we need to cut the discussion. Can I just say thank you again for 2 excellent presentations, really, really interesting research, really positive project, the revitalization project. I'm really excited about both. And so thank you to both our speakers in this first session. And I think it's now time to hand back to Jasmine. Is it you?
Thank you, Mr. Pryor, Dr. Jiang, and Mr. Wong. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and facilitating our deeper understanding of the talks.